Dawn at Dolbelydr. Its name means Meadow of the Sun's Rays, and since it opened in 2003, more than 8,000 people have stayed in it, and many hundreds more have visited on our free open days. But it's not always been like this. When I first came to Dolbelydr more than 10 years ago, it was a roofless, floorless ruin. The roof had collapsed, there were timbers all over the floor, and there were bushes and trees growing out of it. But just look at it now.
And it's wonderful. I'd forgotten just what a ruin it was when you got hold of it originally.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really so atmospheric as well, I think. It's, you know, you try to imagine what it must have been like.
The Landmark Trust is a building preservation charity. We rescue important buildings at risk that would otherwise be lost forever. We raise the money to restore these buildings charitably, and once restored, we let our buildings for self-catering holidays. Anyone can stay in a landmark, and the letting income pays for future maintenance. Every landmark has its own history album, telling its story and the story of the people who lived here. It also sets out the conservation that landmarks had to do to bring the building back into use and modern life. Every landmark is different, but there are some things that are the same about all of them, and one of those things is a well-stocked bookcase. You find carefully chosen books that illuminate the building's history, the history of those who lived here, and the wider locality. Dolbelydr's most famous resident was a 16th century scholar called Henry Salisbury, and in 1593 Henry Salisbury published the first English-Welsh grammar, the Grammatica Britannica, which he wrote here at Dolbelydr. Another thing you'll find at most landmarks are specially made curtains with a motif that's unique to that particular building. Here at Dolbelydr, we've chosen a motif from the frontispiece of Henry Salisbury's Grammatica Britannica. And these motifs are often picked up elsewhere in the building, perhaps in different colours or on different items of furniture. A much-loved feature of all our landmarks is the familiar blue Chelsea crockery. This has been in our buildings since the very beginning and is greeted by landmarkers like an old friend. The logbook is a bit of a landmark institution. Here, people staying in the building record their visit and their discoveries for those who follow. I feel really proud to have been part of the project team that rescued and restored Dolbelydr and brought it back to life. More than 10 years later, it's really great to come back and see the house still looking in such excellent condition. This is what the Landmark Trust is all about. Since we were founded in 1965, we've saved around 200 buildings in England, Scotland and Wales, plus a handful in Italy. This Martello Tower at Aldborough on the Suffolk coast was built in 1812. It's the most northerly in a chain of similar towers built to protect the south coast from invasion by Napoleon. This one is unique in being quatrefoil. It has 4 towers grouped around a central chamber. Today's a changeover day when our wonderful housekeeper is getting the landmark ready for the next set of visitors. Landmark depends on its dedicated local housekeepers and gardeners to deliver its exceptionally high standards. Many have worked for us for years and may even have known the building before we rescued it. Hayley has been caring for the Martello Tower for the last 4 years.
It's more than just a holiday for people, it's a kind of historical experience. I mean, how often do you get to stay in a Martello Tower? You know, or let alone visit one. So it's a very special building, very special. So this is a really good way to keep these buildings occupied, heated, looked after and in use. Otherwise they just go, they deteriorate, and once gone, we've lost them.
The kitchens are always well equipped, and we'll give you a list in advance of the equipment you can expect. Many landmarks have open fires or wood stoves, which all add to the atmosphere of these historic buildings. Hayley's finishing touch is a tea tray, laid out for you ready for your arrival, with milk in the fridge and a friendly note. People often come back again and again to landmarks.
Hi, Hayley.
The building becomes part of a family's history as well as the nation's.